Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Fred, and this is Coffee Talk. I'm here to talk about coffee. We're in the coffee growing capital of the world, right here in southern Colombia, Huila province, down in the south, not too far from Ecuador. It's a beautiful spot, and the coffee here is loving it. Coffee is an amazing plant. There are about 120 species of coffee, two of which are responsible for vast majority, something like 99% of all commercial coffee, if not 100%. You can Google the numbers, but most common is the Arabica species of coffee that's native to Ethiopia, and it's grown all over the world, all over the tropics. It's the #1 coffee species here as well in Colombia. That's what we're looking at here. They also grow a little bit of Robusta. Robusta is responsible for about 20% of global coffee production. It's a species native to West Africa, like around Ghana, all the way down to around Angola. And now it's been cultivated around the world as well, but not as widely as Arabica, which is a better tasting coffee, as I understand. So yeah, here we are in the mountains. This is where the coffee grows. It grows on these steep hillsides. It's not an easy terrain to work on, but the coffee plants are happy. They've actually got 5 different varieties of coffee here. 4 of them belonging to the Arabica species, and 1 variety of Robusta here. So these are the coffee plants. These are the coffee beans. Here's a close-up. Take a look at the flowers. This is where the coffee. This is where the coffee flowers, and those little flowers, they'll open up. You might see some open flowers somewhere. They'll open up, like this one here. Some open flowers, and then those flowers will dry out, and then they turn into this, and then they turn into this, and then they turn into coffee berries. They're not technically berries, they're not technically beans. Here they usually refer to them as cherries. If you look at the nice red color that they turn when they're ripe, you get an idea why they call them cherries. There are some varieties, this may be it here. I'm not quite an expert yet, but one of the varieties that they have, it's a yellow coffee berry, so it's ripe when it turns yellow like this. They're harvested. The main harvest is toward the end of the year, around November, and then there's another secondary harvest in the middle of the year, around May, June. But there are actually field workers out here throughout the year harvesting, because there's always some coffee to harvest. As you can see here, nice red berries ready to harvest. I'm gonna harvest one right now. I don't think they'll mind if I take one. I think they've got enough to go around. There's 11 hectares here and about 5,000 coffee plants per hectare. So you can do the math on that. There's also, I don't know how many millions of little fruit flies per hectare, but they don't use these minimal amounts of chemical pesticides and herbicides here. So there are a few bugs. And you know what? I harvested a green berry. That didn't work out. Let me harvest a red one. There's a red one. I want to show you how this works. So you squeeze that. See if I can squeeze this without making a terrible mess. Squeeze that out. And hold on a second. Squeeze it out, and there should be 2 coffee beans in there. Just like that. I'm gonna pop that in my mouth. And there's another one. Should be another one. About 10% of the time you're only going to find 1 bean in there, but that's not a problem. And then the rest of it goes to waste, goes to compost. There's an idea to use all this waste to make biochar, but this is not a good feedstock for biochar. It's a little bit wet and juicy. So yeah, these plants grow nice and big, depending on the variety. Some get bigger than others. After about 7 years, they'll come in and cut the plant down to size, down to about lung height. They call it the lung cut. So they'll cut it down to about chest height, and the upper part of the plant, you have all that wood that's great for making biochar, and then the rest of the plant bushes out a little bit. There's some yucca down here. Yucca is a staple crop in the area. It's basically the same thing as cassava, but here they call it yucca. It's a starchy tuber, a bit like potatoes. You can see there's a lot of coffee here. So then after that 7-year cut, they'll either cut it down to lung height, or in some cases they'll cut it all the way down to the base, all the way down to ground level, and then let the plant regenerate. It comes back real nice and thick and bushy. And then they'll do that pruning again, cutting it back and after another 3 or 4 years. And they repeat that for the lifespan of the coffee, which is about 20 years-ish. And then the coffee is uprooted, and then they replant new coffee plants. So here's some nice young ones that have been filled in here. When they put out the new plants, the new seedlings, you get a certain amount of, a certain mortality rate. Not 100% of the plants do well, take root and thrive. And so they have to pull those out. And so they're constantly filling in the gaps, replanting, putting in new stock of coffee. And the coffee continues to grow. You see it all up and down the mountains. They do intercrop it with plantain. It's banana trees down there, actually plantain. A lot of that yucca, also known as cassava. There's lots of bamboo in the region. Guadua bamboo is native here, provides some shade. The shade-grown coffee is even better. The shade protects the berries from overexposure to the sun and creates a higher quality coffee. And that's a little bit about the coffee context. There's a nice tropical fruit tree there, all kinds of exotic fruits. It's a little bit about farming in Colombia. Stay tuned for more fascinating videos. Thanks for watching.